Hey everyone, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps, and today I've created this really pretty card using the Lovely Layers Antique Sewing Table. So I have die cut the sewing table, so the sewing machine, from black cardstock, and I'm going to take rusty hinge and add a little bit of that to the edges, and it's kind of hard to see. I did start with a vintage photo. You couldn't really notice that. I didn't want it to be overly done, but when you look at it up close, you can see that there is something going on. It looks a little bit aged. I'm going to do the same thing to a few of these other pieces that goes along with this whole die. Now, when I die cut the legs to the table, that's also from black cardstock. I did not add rusty hinge to that, just to a few of the detail pieces. I think this die is stunning. I think we all know somebody who sews. I am just getting into sewing. I've tried it for many, many years. I haven't loved it, but now I'm liking it for some reason. I don't, maybe it's because I'm a little bit older. Who knows why? But I love this sewing machine. It's so cute. Then we have the piece, the top of the table that I die cut from a craft cardstock, and I am using walnut stain to add a little bit of distressing to that. Let's glue the table to the legs. I mean, look at how beautiful this die is. And it's so simple to put together, you guys. Like, this card is so quick and easy, so you could put this together for your sewing friends. And you have your bobbin and thread. I just did wood bobbin, the same as the tabletop, and then some white thread. Then I have the base piece from Gold Mirror cardstock, and I'm going to adhere that top piece that we did some of that ink blending on to the top of that. And then we have another little piece that goes at the base of the sewing machine. Oh, first let me glue on our little thread here. I added a little bit of liquid glue. Let me put that in place. And then I can add that other long piece to the bottom. So let me grab my pen. My glue kept trying to clog, and I'm not sure why, but it was just, that was the second time I had to do that in this little short video. There's that liquid glue. Let's put this in place. And then we're going to create a beautiful background that really is super simple, but it's so pretty. For the sentiments, I am going to be using the So Glad stamp and coordinating die, and it's going to say "You're so amazing." These pieces we inked up a little bit too, so we're going to put those in place, and they all have embossed detail from those dies, which I think is so lovely. It makes them look so old and vintage. Let's get our other two little pieces. Now I am using the Lacy Heart layering frames die and the Spring Medley 3D embossing folder. So there's that Lacy Heart layering die. Then I trimmed out a piece of cardstock that's going to fit right in the center of that, and I'm going to run that through the die cut machine using that 3D embossing folder, because I thought having a really pretty floral background would be stunning. So now that that's done, and I just use some mixed media cardstock because I'm going to add a lot of water to this. You could use a watercolor cardstock, however you want to do that. I am using a Reinker. I'm using Speckled Egg Distress Oxide Reinker. I'm going to spritz my paper with my Distress sprayer pretty generously. I'm going to add little drops of that color, and then I'm going to add a lot more water. I'm going to add water till it just really kind of moves around freely, and I don't mind that it's dripping off. Of course, I want that excess to drip off. I'm also not worried if it gets every single area covered. I don't mind if there's some white spots. I don't want a ton of it, but a little bit of it, I don't mind. And then I'm going to take my heat tool to this and let it dry. And you can see that there's lighter areas and darker areas, and that is perfect for this background. To that frame, that Lacy Heart frame, I'm going to just use the Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink pad itself and just ink blend the edges, because that's all we're going to see. And then I will also use a little bit of the vintage photo, very little, around the edge of that embossed background. Just the tiniest bit is what I used, but that sets it apart from the other background, and it looks so beautiful. I love this background. It's so pretty. I'm going to add 1mm foam adhesive behind that card panel, and we're going to center that, and look at how pretty that is against that beautiful scalloped edge. It's so stunning. Then I have 1mm foam adhesive behind the sewing table and the sewing machine. And I'm going to line that up towards the bottom. It fills up this part of the card perfectly, but look how it pops against that beautiful background, and it feels very vintagey. I think that speckled egg feels like that to me. Then we're going to stamp our sentiment from the So Glad stamp set, and I actually used speckled egg. Now it's going to be really light on the card, and if you don't like that, maybe stamp it in black. But I liked that it was really, really soft and kind of blended into the background. And I'm using the coordinating dies to die cut those out, and I will add 1mm foam adhesive behind those as well. And this will be adhered to a white A2 size card base. So let me get the sentiment centered at the top there. You could also stamp this in the vintage photo. That would be pretty too. And then let's take a look at this up close. See how easy this card is, but it is so stunning. It turned out so beautiful. I love this Lovely Layers antique sewing table, and I love the background dies and 3D embossing folders, and that's from older releases. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you feel inspired by this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.